is going on, flying monkey shit? Alright, I got my notebook because aside from being unemployed, I'm also still very lazy. I'm lazy enough. Anybody else ever seen the employees must wash hands sign, like in the bathroom, and then just immediately think, thank God I'm unemployed? I'm single, if that's a surprise after the wash hands story. I'm single by choice though. I do have, there are some females interested in dating me. If I'm being honest, there's a couple of females I'm interested in dating as well. When it really comes down to it though, when you start thinking relationships and you really start getting down into it, personally, my standards are too high to date anyone whose their own standards are low enough to date me. That's just, we can't work with that. You gotta up that self-esteem, darling. It'd be nice to have somebody to bring to gatherings, barbecues, things like that. 4th of July, we actually had, my family, had everybody over. My brother and his girl came over, my sister and her boyfriend. And it got a little weird. My grandparents showed up, and my nan walked in the door, and she had a black eye. And I was the first one to see it, so I was like, man, what's going on? What happened to your eye? And she was like, I don't want to talk about it. And she walked off. All right, that's some weird holiday shit. That's some shit you gotta go be like, hey, you get your brother, and you're like, hey, come here, fucking Nan don't want to talk about her black eye. What the fuck's going on? And then we're all, of course, everybody's like, is Papa hitting Nan? Fucking, is that what's going on? We need to figure this shit out. We gotta matlock something? And, so we kind of, we don't let it go, but we're like, let's just keep an eye on the situation. And a little later, I'm sitting on the couch, and my granddad comes in, and he sits on the couch. And my granddad chose to wear some 1980s tennis shorts, just some really short shit, some shit that nobody should be in, let alone your grandfather. But he sits down on the chair, and as soon as he does, I don't even know what it's like. It's just his balls rolled out from under the shorts. They just came down. And look, I'm down in here like that. And I had to see it. You guys are trying to picture it. I've watched that shit happen in slow motion. Every time I blink, that's what's happening. But it was good. I saw that and I felt better. Immediately, this calm came over me. Because I realized that Papa's not hitting Nan. Nan just likes it doggy style. And I like to think too that maybe they play ball in cup, she's up there she can get it. Later that night, we went to a friend of mine's house. We decided to have the friend barbecue where we're all hanging out, having a barbecue. People I hadn't seen much since high school, that kind of stuff. And this story comes up, kind of like always does, stories from high school, all that old shit, about the time me and my friend Jason stole my friend Mark's car to skip school and get high. And what happened was, Jason and I were standing around, we're like, fuck school, because we're 16 and who gives a shit. But neither one of us had a car. And we're like, what the fuck are we gonna do? I know where Mark's hide key is. Mark drives a Honda. I don't even think he'll notice if we wreck it. Let's take Mark's car. So he's like, I know how to drive a stick, let's do this shit. So we're riding around, we're getting high, and on the way we smell this terrible smell. It's just this funky fucking smell. I don't even know, we brought it up, but I was probably like, Jason, your vagina stinks. Or, something like 16, whatever. But we drive it back, we park, we get high, we park his car, we're like, Mark doesn't even know, fuck Mark. And we go back to Jason's house. Well, Jason lives on a hill, like a San Francisco type hill, where it's just fucking hill, and then houses all the way down. And so we're hanging out there, and Mark comes by after school. All right, so Mark parks his car in front of Jason's house, and he goes to get out, and it's like this. As his car drags him down the hill. And we're all freaking out, holy shit, there's a busy intersection with, lights and all that shit right at the bottom of the hill. But Mark, he stops it, he gets the car, he's safe. And what we found out was that terrible smell was the emergency brake that we had on the whole time we were smoking weed. And we're all laughing, like at this barbecue, telling this story. We're like, ha ha, yeah, that was great. I was like, that's so close from being a story that we tell every time this group of people get together. Every time. To being a story that we can never tell. We could never be at a barbecue, like chuckling, drinking, like, hey, you guys remember that time we killed Mark? It's just not something that can happen. Had a lot of friends at that barbecue, though. It was a lot of people. They'd grown up, they'd gotten married, had kids, gotten mortgages, ruined their lives in so many ways. And I'm Uncle Shane to no less than a dozen kids. All the kids love Uncle Shane because we're into the same shit, like cartoons and superheroes. And they love me. So NJ, one of my particular nephews, wanted me to put him down for bed. So I'm like, all right, let's go, we'll do this. So I take him in, I'm putting him down for his nap. I didn't realize his mom had followed me in. So she comes in there and she sees all of it, me putting him down, tickling him, covering him up. And then she goes, oh my God, Shane. You're gonna be such a good daddy someday. And immediately I was like, no, I'm not. No. And she's like, you never know. Things happen. I was, yeah, all right, she's kind of right. You don't know. Accidents happen. Condoms break. She might be pro-life. All of these things can ruin all of my future plans. Any of them can completely ruin what I've got going on. I'd rather have a dog than a kid anyway. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but a kid, dogs are hard enough. And dogs usually unconditionally love you. No matter what you do, they unconditionally love you. My dog recently called me out on being a piece of shit. No, and it sucks. You're all laughing, fuck all you. It's your dog, And what happened was, I was sitting in my boxers. Okay, go ahead and laugh. Watching The Price is Right. And I got cold. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna jump up, put some pants on and be toasty for the Showcase Showdown. And so I go and get my pants and I come back. And I'm in the living room, because I don't want to miss it. We were on commercial, but I might miss some shit if I put them on in the bedroom. So I'm in the living room and I get the leg on. Dog immediately. All right, Sebastian, okay. So I get the other leg in. Full-on dog ape shit. Wagging his tail, he's jumping on the couch, running up and down the hall. What the hell's going on? I'm putting the pants on, are you okay, boy? What's going on? And I sat down, and then I realized that I so rarely put on pants. He's like, we're going for a car ride! This shit's about to happen! He's leaving the house, finally! It didn't happen, much to his chagrin. But that's kind of the way it is. Actually, since that story, I did say I was sitting around in my boxers. I've switched to boxer briefs. Any of the fellas out there made this choice? No, you have to. All those people who didn't clap, I'm not even kidding. You get all of the comfortability, the flexibility of boxers, and it's coupled, for the first time that I'm aware of, with the cum absorbency of briefs. You can actually, it's like a bounty. You can almost hear it be like, and you're laughing because you've tried to clean cum up with boxers. And that's like saran wrap. You might as well just pull out some Reynolds and be like, we'll just smear this until it gets thin enough to dry. Just let that, it'll flake off, whatever. Let's see, recently I cut myself shaving my dick. Yeah, laugh it up, fuckers. Because there's a lot of things that go on when you're shaving your dick. First of all, you're only shaving it in the hopes that someone might see it. Because I could give a shit what it looks like when I'm visiting. So then also, you don't want to have to spend 10 minutes explaining what that red sore is on the shaft of your dick when you're showing it to somebody. And then there's not only that, there's like, anybody ever skinned a knee? Like even when you were little, like fall down, you skin your knee, and then maybe you take a flight of stairs too fast, you like run up, you're like, oh shit, oh I messed that up. Yeah, when I drive by the high school, it's pretty much the exact same thing. I fixed it though, I did fix it. I started jerking off with Neosporin. That's taken care of almost all of the issues that I've had. Let's see. I recently lost my best blowjob. Thank you. Like everybody else, like suck a dick, and not as good as the one I'm about to talk about. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. I would wager that almost, if not, every chick in here gives a good blowjob. Bad blowjobs are almost hard to find as great ones. This chick. Alright, look, if it was an Olympic sport, like the thing that sucks about this, you can't brag about it. You can't tell people I suck a mean dick. You know, like nobody's putting that on their job application, nobody's tweeting it like #swallow. And it's such a thankless thing that you can do. And like I loved it. I'm so appreciative of it. I'm telling a shitload of strangers about it. Like that's how much I loved this. And the only thanks I ever gave this chick was a mouthful of my cum. Like that's all I ever gave her. I was like, here you go. I'm gonna leave you guys real quick. Time's almost up. I've learned a few things recently. Haven't been able to get in the Huntsville comic scene lately. A few things that I've learned. One, we learned that intolerance and hate, while terrible things, make biscuits taste fantastic, apparently. I learned that last month, Raven Simone from The Cosby Show came out gay. And I know some of you are like, no, that happened this week. No, she came out on MySpace. We only found out this week. She came out last month. But the most important thing I learned, and I learned two things simultaneously. The instant I learned one, I learned the other. And what I learned was I had an itch on my foot. It was driving me crazy, like driving me crazy. So I went and did that shit like anybody would. Athlete's foot. That's what it comes back as. But I'm scrolling through the forums like, well, let's see what these guys are saying, make sure I'm on the right track. And somebody pointed out the same active ingredient in athlete's foot fungus medicine is the same active ingredient in jock itch medicine. I never knew that. Like that was mind-blowing news. The moment I learned that, because I Googled it, I was like, oh shit, is that real? You know, I found out it was real. The moment I learned that, I also learned that cute chick at the checkout counter at the drugstore didn't need to know about my ball fungus. All right, guys, I am Shane Justice. Thank you so much for supporting local comedy.